Hello and welcome to R&R's Ask the Expert. I'm Kayla McGowan, editor-in-chief, and today we are talking all things interconnect. I'm sure you can guess who my guest is, but without a proper introduction, it would not be an Ask the Expert. So, of course, we're speaking with Garret Gray, president of Cotality Insurance Solutions. Last year's event was absolutely phenomenal. My first event, if I can tell everybody here, it was phenomenal. New tagline, new brand name, powerful keynotes, and it was in the beautiful city of LA. But I know that this coming event is going to probably blow that one out of the water. It seems to be your guys' kind of theme. So without further ado, please welcome Garret.
Hey, how are you? Thanks for having me. What a lot of people don't probably remember about our last interconnect is that it was originally, it's always in January, and then we had the LA fires, and we had to do this massive move to later in the year. So it's that one was very hectic. This one is going to be more smooth. We are predicting a smoother entry into interconnect this year.
Well, honestly, I want to be quite honest. You could not tell that there was any chaos at all. You guys did a really great job in moving the event with, if the time was just so crazy, right? It was days and it was a little scary, but you guys did a really good job. So if you're saying that this one's going to be more smooth, I can only imagine what 2026 has in store for all of us attending. So I want to kind of know, and I know people attending want to know, what are some exciting things we can expect for 2026?
Yeah, well, unfortunately, a lot of that is secretive because, we are trying to raise the bar every year, and that means sometimes the element of surprise is important. So, I can't give you too much on that, but I will say, a lot of times people will come up to me after every keynote or interconnect and say, "There's no way you can do it better next year." And I always say, "Okay, that's a great challenge, and we're going to try to do that." And so far, I think we've done that. I think we'll do it again this year. It's going to get harder and harder. But our team puts a lot of time and effort into not just bringing the industry together, which is a big part of what we're doing. I think it's what makes you Interconnect so unique is it brings not just restoration contractors together, but it brings claims professionals, insurance executives, government regulators. We bring the underwriting side as well. And so it's a very, complete view of our space. And the ability to have collaboration between all those key stakeholders is I think, what really drives the importance of being there. And for contractors, I think it's really important to be represented when all those key stakeholders are around. And so we really focus on driving content that's really special to contractors and honed in for each one so that they can justify which is there's a ton of events to go to. So we're wanting contractors to be able to justify coming to our event.
No, you guys do a really good job. And honestly, the secret part of things is what makes it so exciting, right? I will definitely say you guys have figured out what works for you. And I think keeping it under wraps is a really big deal for you guys because it makes the experience that much more memorable, if you will. I had a great time last year. Honestly, I think I told you the last time we chatted when we wrapped up that event is, some of the keynotes made me kind of cry, like honestly, just at your heartstrings. And, you do a really great job in melding all of the worlds together in the industries that you guys serve. So, is there a theme this year? And if there is, what is it? And what does this event mean to you personally, especially being in DC this year?
Yeah, so we're building on our past theme. So you'll one of the things you'll see is like there's been several eras of this event, but the new era is intelligence beyond bounds. I previewed it last year, and really our view on intelligence is that it's not just data or really impressive workflows or AI, but intelligence is more than that. It's everybody who's contributing to the process. The people in the room are the intelligence, and it's like, how do you harness those people? And that's a big part of our focus is, all the different technologies, all the different data. Yes, we're going to talk about that, and we're going to figure out, how we, cast our vision for that. But it's really wrapping in the intelligence that's in the room and the intelligence that is made up by all of our key stakeholders and customers.
100%. And, I think to your guys' point, it's the same theme essentially carrying through. There have been some changes, but we know that the power of data, the power of people, and even technology, we all have to work together to make things evolve and make things better than what they are. So you guys do a really good job at that. I'm super excited to kind of see how everything plays out, right? I know it's secret, but
We're
the
going to take some risks too. There's some risks in this one, so you can come see if they pay off or not, or maybe everyone can laugh at me on stage.
hey, there's no reward without risk, right? So, I mean, kudos to you guys for always taking those risks because somebody has to do it and you guys happen to do it really, really well. So, I think DC was not a risk. Let's talk about that. Beautiful place. It's going to be a winter wonderland, I'm assuming, just based on the weather that I've seen. What inspired you guys to pick that specific location?
So we were bouncing back and forth between Los Angeles and Texas and Austin, and we kept getting requests to come to the East Coast, and so we just thought, what better place than our nation's capital? Like this is it's a place that I would love to bring my kids to. I haven't had a chance to bring my kids to them to DC, and I think it is a great place to kind of can be steeped in history and kind of the seat of power of the world, and use that energy to figure out the best path forward for our industry.
Yeah, no, it's a beautiful location. For those of you who haven't been there, history is woo.
Yeah, and by the way, if you're like, gosh, I do not want to go into a cold space, well, I know a lot of you are living in cold spaces, so I'm sorry there's not like a break getting to come to LA. But it's a Gaylord. So if you've never been to a Gaylord, like it's all in this big bubble, so you really never have to go outside once you get to the property. And a lot of great restaurants and great things to do. So you kind of get to be in this encapsulated place, and you can choose when you want to go out and brave whatever the weather is.
100%. I was gonna say, they always have a beautiful atrium. They have shops and food, and like if their gyms are immaculate, right? And it's a great place to network with everybody. And I would definitely say one thing that really stands out about that location is the history, to your point. I mean, they have like some areas with cobblestone road and stuff, not saying you might be able to see it, but there's just the history there. It's rich and it's a really beautiful location. But to Garrett's point, like Gaylord, locations are phenomenal because it allows us to still effectively network, spend time with our friends and family, coworkers, all of those things, and dive into the education side of things at INTRConnect. So I know you're keynoting. I think it's no secret that you're keynoting to a lot of our listeners. It's always a highlight and it's always a pleasure to see you take the stage. This year's 2025 was very immersive, so I can only imagine what 26 holds. What can your attendees look forward to this time without giving everything away?
Yeah, look, I think a big topic for us is going to be around, how we've made an impact and are we making an impact from the lens of our actual customers and the real people that all of us in the room are trying to impact, which is policyholders, typically. And so the focus, which is still a common theme for us, is the lives beyond the buildings, and those lives are not just the policyholders, but the people who are working in our space. So we're going to talk a lot about actual impact. We're going to talk about what we delivered. We're going to talk about where we're going. Agentic AI is going to be a big topic for us. So, that may or may not be a new word for anybody in your audience, but, we had generative AI. So we kind of had like, early forms of AI. Then we had generative AI. That's what we've been talking about a lot for the last couple of years. Now there's this new wave of agentic AI, which is really changing how workflows are happening. And so we're going to talk about our response to that and some of the things that we've been doing and are doing in that space. And really about bringing people together to harness the collective intelligence to chart a better path forward for contractors. It's a really neat opportunity to kind of constructively engage with some of the people that really impact your business, carriers and others. And so it's just a great opportunity to be represented, network, and be a part of what pushes our industry forward.
No, 100%. I will definitely say to your point, things are moving really relatively quickly. And so we have to make sure that we're taking the time to kind of slow down just a little bit and explain what these things are, how they impact all sides of what, the claims process looks like, from the carrier to the contractor to, those who are being covered. I think it's extremely important to make sure that we're diving into all of that. And AI, I think, is really had a year of takeover. I know we know it's been coming and it's here, but it's just excelled so rapidly. And I think you talking about the differences of the lifetime of AI is really huge because some people can't wrap their head around it. So taking that time to explain it is like one of those things is like, okay, if I can just sit there for an hour or whatever it is and really just indulge and appreciate what's being, shared, I need to do that because what you see all over the internet is absolutely wild. You're like, what do I believe, right?
Well, and there's all this conversation around, is AI going to take over my job? Is AI going to take over my business or disrupt my business? And I think that the mantra that you hear, from me and others is no, it's not going to, but somebody using AI will. And so are you positioning yourself to really be at the forefront of this really new emerging and exciting technologies? Or are you just getting ready to be, ran over by someone who is? And so, sometimes as humans, we can be afraid of something, so we get paralyzed and we freeze. And this is not a moment to freeze. This is a moment to lean in and learn more and see how others are using these technologies to stay competitive.
No, 100% well said. I think to your point, AI is not going to take away what we do, but those who know how to leverage it, utilize it, and aren't scared to kind of push the limits, if you will, kind of sticking in your theme of intelligence beyond bounds, right? You have to do that in
Or
order.
last year's theme of Beyond All Limits, right? So
Yes, yes. Exactly. I see a theme here.
there's a
I don't
theme.
know if everybody sees the theme as well, but I think it's one of those things that, we have to push the envelope. That's the beauty of this industry, that we have the opportunity to push the envelope and make sure that we're, leveraging things the way that we can. But it's not a time to be scared. It's a time to embrace, because we know that our customers are using it as well. So we need to lead by example and also show them, how we leverage it to give them that peace of mind as well. So I know you're not the only one keynoting. Would you like to share who else is keynoting?
Yeah, well, yes, I can definitely do that. One other point I wanted to make really quick, though, on what you're talking about for contractors is a lot of people forget that we are creating tracks for contractors so that each individual role has content that is specialized for them. And so it's not just hey, I own a restoration contracting firm and I want to come out and see what's going on. It's really designed to bring your general manager, to bring your coordinators, to bring your EMS techs, your project managers or estimators, because each they're going to get exposed to some really big topics, which I think is helpful for you as you're trying to leverage your people. But it's also a great place to give them individual content that is tailored to the best they can be in their role, and then bring that back to other people in those roles. So we know that's the case. We've been doing that for 10 years, but I always like am surprised to find out people that don't realize like that's how the event is designed. So I just wanted to make sure I got that out before I forgot. Um, so you asked about the other keynoters. So we've got lots of different great speakers up from the main stage, as well as a lot of great speakers that are going to be in individual breakout sessions. So the content is not going to be boring. It's going to be very engaging and very well thought out. Andrea Jones Roy is our other keynote. And the title of her keynote is the Data Thinking Revolution. And so, as you can see, there's a theme, right? And one of the things that we all know is that this intelligence requires data. It requires us, and it's a huge revolution that is coming and is frankly already here. So you're going to get to hear a lot more about that from Andrea.
No, and I would definitely say I'm glad you called that out about the tracks because I think for anybody listening who may be saying like, "Hey, I haven't been," or, it's cold in DC or whatever, we know everybody weighs all these things in their head, right? You know, I think it's really important to understand that there is literally something for everybody there. I mean, let's honestly be real here. The amount of educational and informative sessions that you guys have is designed for just that, for everyone. It's really important if you've never been or maybe you're on the fence of attending, just take Garrett's advice and listen that there's some great opportunities here. So with that being said, if there is somebody listening who is like, I do want to go, but I haven't gone, what would you tell them to really make sure that they understand the impact that INTRConnect truly has?
Yeah, really, especially from a restoration contractor's point of view, there is a big focus on how to make your business more profitable and successful and how to grow it. from every level, not just in terms of sales and marketing, but yes, sales and marketing. But how do you then handle the execution that needs to come with that growth? How do you handle, do you want to sell your business at some point? Like all of these like really big topics get tackled in one way or another. And I think we bring the best of the industry together, the best contractors, the best thinkers, the best insurance companies and executives. And so it's like, do you want to be in that room where you're rubbing elbows with people and having conversations and learning content that they're learning to propel your business forward? And I truly think for restoration contractors who um, think of this as a way to kind of launch their year and come get some, nuggets, get folk decide how you want to execute on those things at this event, bring the right people on your team to support you do that, and then bring that energy back to your business. I've seen people do that over and over again and get amazing results. And so I highly just encourage you, don't just come like either, if you're not gonna like really embrace it and bring, people, maybe it's not worth the investment this year. But if you're gonna really like come, bring your team, figure out how to launch your year, then highly recommend that you make that investment. And I know it's an investment. I know everyone's busy, but sometimes you don't have the luxury not to do these things to get the kind of results that you want to get.
No, for sure. And I will definitely just echo that really quickly. 2025 was probably not the year that many people thought it was going to be. And I mean, on all realms, like, the fires in California, we saw flooding, we saw tornadoes, we saw crazy storms. Now we're going through all the winter stuff, but we didn't have a hurricane season.
And claim volumes in general are down. So like contractors are hurting, there's, a 15% drop in claim volume on average for most people. Like this is, but and so this is not the time to like sit and lick your wounds and like, woe is me. Like this is the time to figure out new strategies to figure out new ways of getting work, figure out new ways of becoming more profitable to eke out even more profit on each job that you get. This is the time that you buckle down when things get a little bit hard and really figure it out. And I think that's the kind of the point our industry is in. And by the way, we've been there before. This has been a very, up and down industry. And so there's a lot of learnings we've had from previous periods like this that I think you will both get from us and other people in the room. So if you're sitting here going, this has been too hard of a year, I really can't make the time, I can't afford it. Again, I'll go back to you may not be able to afford not to.
No, 100%. Well said, because I was just about to say January is the time to really take maybe whatever you've planned for your strategy, learn from, like you said, the ups and downs and where we've seen maybe trends and what you can do to put your business on the right path for the remainder of 2026. I mean, I believe this is the first event of for our industry in particular for
It
the
is.
year,
Yeah.
right? So take advantage of that. And, like Garrett said, rub those elbows in the room. Listen to those who have been in the industry for 20, 30 years, even some people who have maybe come from other industries that have a fresh lens on what we're looking at and what we've gone through. So, I think it's really important to really take that second to say, okay, if this is going to help me build my business, I need to take a second and attend this event. So before we wrap up, a couple of things I wanted to say is the Gaylord, we mentioned it. Hotel is filling up really fast, which is honestly no surprise. It's such a beautiful location. And the room block closes on December 31st. So, make that your New Year's last little checklist there to book your room. Gaylord may still be available. You just won't have the cool discounted rates that the team at Cotality was able to lock down for us. But I do have another question for you, and it's really just your final thoughts on what you think, we can expect for 2026 as a whole and how people can take what they learn at INTRConnect and apply it to their business. I know you kind of touched on it a little bit, but just in case we maybe missed something, what would you say to those listening?
So I think it's hard to predict the weather, which is one of the drivers of claim volume. So I won't wade into that. Although I feel like we're due for some crazy events. Hopefully no fires, and hopefully no fires where I am, since I've been a survivor of two of our biggest wildfires. But I can't predict the weather. I do think that we are in this kind of interesting period where there's going to be more cash outs. There's insurance affordability issues. Less people have insurance or higher deductibles. So we are in a weird time that means claims volumes are going to be suppressed, which means you need to put in some extra elbow grease to get those extra claims. So that's one. And so coming in and learning about marketing strategies and sales strategies, I think is really important. Also, making sure each job is profitable is going to be even more important when claim volumes are down. You've got to figure out how to make it up somewhere else. And so, making sure that you're running efficiently and smoothly and having really good customer execution is going to be really important in 2026 because you just don't have the slack in the extra claim volume to have customer missteps or reputational issues. And so you want to be hitting on all cylinders, both in your local marketing and with your insurance programs and your TPAs and MRN programs. You want to be hitting on all cylinders so you're getting the max claim volume possible and making the most out of each of those claims. Um, again, I feel like I've been saying a similar message for like 20 years in this space, and it's all the same theme of like technology is coming and it's going to disrupt what you're doing. It's in every way, like it's happened. And so this is going to happen again. And this time the AI movement is moving faster than frankly, even I can keep up with in some ways. You'll hear me talk about how I was feeling like I was ahead of the AI curve. And then this year, there was a point in June where I'm like, holy, this is moving so fast. Even I feel a little overwhelmed and needed to like take a whole week to just sit down and go, okay, what's happening in this agentic world, and are we staying ahead of it? So, a lot to do and a lot for people to consider in terms of how they're handling 2026 with these new technologies and these claim drops that we're seeing. So again, perfect time of year to do it, to bring your team to huddle, figure out how you're going to tackle the year and make 2026 much better than 2025.
Well said. I echo that 100%. I think everybody listening definitely feels that last message there from you, Garrett. I don't have any other questions. Do you have any final thoughts other than what you just mentioned?
No, we'd love to see as many people in DC as possible. It's my favorite time. It's my time to get to reconnect with a lot of the restoration contractors that I don't see as often as I used to see. It's the time to help make those connections. And honestly, like we make sure the bar stays open too, because that's where the best stuff happens is like 2 o'clock in the morning at the bar. So, it's come hang out with us, learn from us. We're going to learn from you, and we're going to improve the industry together. That's my final thoughts.
Awesome. Well, thank you for taking the time to share all things interconnect with us today. And for all of you watching, as always, thank you for tuning in to this episode of Ask the Expert. Take care.